welcome to the Steele Wars Hypernews for Friday the 30th November 2018. We're going to be talking about the backstory behind Luke Bespin in The Force Awakens, the flashback, the Force back. I've got a bit of insight in that. We're going to talk about Galaxy Adventures, and we'd love to hear your reactions. And spoiler alert, very minor spoiler alert, very, very minor spoiler alert for a classic species just spotted today on the Mandolorian set. Jason Ward hiding out in those bins, doing the good work. And someone that's been doing the good work for years now. Sweet segue alert. It is our friend from Canada, the Star Wars Underworld's very own Dominic Jones. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Steele. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for having me.
Dude, that delay for you to that was terrifying. That was like hours. That was years out of my that was a long time. That was a long pause, Dom. Don't leave me hanging like that.
I'll try not to.
I was just saying before in the pre-show that people in Blog Talk might have heard. I was just listening on the Star Wars Underworld. You just did a very relaxed The Phantom Menace commentary that I'm halfway through. Very enjoyable.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're the last podcast to start doing film commentaries, the last Star Wars podcast to start doing it. And we did one for Rogue One a couple of weeks ago, and it was a lot of fun. So we thought we'd keep it going. And naturally, it's Star Wars, so you can't go in order. So we went with Phantom Menace next. And I'm sure we'll pick something, equally random to do after that. But it was a lot of fun to record. I'm glad people seem to be enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm not sure where my the podcast's commentary timeline is. It might have gone A New Hope, The Phantom Menace, The Holiday Special, The Last Jedi, which is a very odd order. A very odd order. I want to give a shout out to everyone that's gearing up a bit of chat. I've got Timothy Dunlop, the Rural Farm Boy, all the squad. I know Emily Lynn's in there somewhere. Seth Owen, Catherine Caneen. How you doing, buddy? And if you want to call in live, it's 646-668-8360. That number is on the screen anyway. If you missed it, if you're on Skype, add a +1. If you're calling internationally, which is the most impressive way to call, much like Dom is. You're an international caller.
Yeah, call from a different country.
Have you got your passport with you?
So far. I don't have it with me, but it's not too far away. So
okay,
if the international call police show up, I can go grab it real quick.
Oh my God, the international call police?
Yeah.
That is.
I don't know what that is.
Terrifying. I thought I had a slide for this, but we don't. This is just to hand, Dominic Jones. I'm not sure if you're across this breaking news or not, but the Disney Plus Star Wars series starring Diego Luna taps Stephen Schiff as showrunner.
Interesting. I hadn't heard that. Wow.
Exclusive. The recently announced okay, is being shepherded by former The Americans executive producer Stephen Schiff. I hope I'm saying his surname correctly. Schiff serves as executive producer and showrunner of the live-action series, a Star Wars prequel based on Rogue One, a Star Wars story, which is top-lined by the film star Diego Luna, reprising his role as Cassian Andor. There is almost no other info in this, but I know Emily Lind was pretty excited about that. I think we've got her on hold still, so I might just bring her in because she might be able to sizzle the Schiff and his new role. Emily, you there?
I am here.
I'm
very excited.
Okay, give us the lowdown.
Well, he didn't create The Americans. He actually came in season 2 as just like an associate producer, and then I think maybe like a season or two later, became executive producer for the rest of the run. But he also wrote, I think, I was looking it up earlier today, but he wrote, I think, like 6 or 7 episodes of the show. And I'm really excited. It's so funny because when I've been talking about, we're finally getting like a cool spy drama, I've been like, okay, I know it's not going to be The Americans, and that's always been my comparison. That it's not, and I still know it's not going to be that intense. But I'm actually in the middle of rewatching that show, and what it does really, really well is the human cost and the human drama of living a life that's a lie and constantly like hurting people in order to do the thing that you think is the ultimate good. And so I hope we get to see a lot of that in this show.
And of course, the ultimate good is making a Star Wars podcast. What? Content, guys. Content. What's better than content?
Look, you're talking to a bunch of Star Wars podcasters right now. You're not going to get much of an argument from us.
No,
yeah. By the way, hey, that's really interesting. That because I've never seen The Americans, but that concept that you're describing there, Emily, it sounds really, it sounds really interesting, and it makes me think about that line that Cassian has in Rogue One towards the end when he's sort of agreeing to go on the final mission with Jyn, and he lays it out like, every time I did something horrible, every time I did something that I can't remember what the exact line is, but every time I did something that felt wrong, I convinced myself it was for the right cause. And if that's the concept for The Americans, and you're then bringing in that somebody who was instrumental in that show to work on the Cassian series, that fills me with a lot of hope.
I'm really excited about it.
Rebellions start with hope. Did you know that?
I heard that somewhere.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I was in a movie or something.
All right. Very topical. Hey, Emily, so just give us what channel is The Americans on?
Well, it's over now. It was on FX, but if you have Amazon Prime, it's all up for free on their streaming.
Ooh.
Okay.
Interesting.
I highly recommend it. It's a slow burn, but then it gets really intense.
And what sort of, like, is it set in the present day?
It's set during the Cold War.
Ooh.
So it's 70s into the 80s. It is about 2 Russians who were sent to America to do spy work, but like to the point where they got married and started a family, and then it's like balancing that with being spies and going around killing people and breaking into government buildings and stuff.
I now know this show. I remember seeing the trailers for it. It's so because we are at a bit of a content crossroads in the Saunders house. Should I be looking at this one?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is you have to pay attention to this show, so it might not be the best show when you have a baby because, like, there'll be long sections of it in Russian that are subtitled, so it's not a good background show.
Gotcha. That is very astute advice, Emily. I appreciate that.
Now, Steele, you told me that you had some Krennic story.
Ah, okay, yeah. Did you see in have you watched Galaxy of Adventures yet?
Yes.
Have you watched the Vader one?
Yes.
Did you see?
What did I miss? I was just watching.
There's a Krennic Easter egg in there. There's a shot of him sort of standing in his meditation chamber, and there's all these stormtroopers, and then there's a guy kneeling on the ground, and they've just traced him.
Okay, well, now I'm going to like turn off your podcast and go watch Awakens.
Oh, that's not how content's meant to work. All right.
Fine. I'll wait.
Okay. You just hold there. Well, I'll put you on hold and you pull it up and we'll come back later and see if it lived up to your expectations.
I'll take whatever I can get.
All right. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
All right.
All righty. Now, I want to talk about this, Dom. I'm not sure if you've got the deal up on YouTube, but there's this photo. Where can I get this on my screen? Of Robert Bolter as Luke Skywalker in the deleted Force back sequence. Now,
how about that? Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure if the guys on YouTube are having issues with the sound, but let me know if the sound is bad. And I upload it with a new sound because I record the sound separately. So if you are watching and it's a bit choppy, in about an hour after the show, there'll be a one with great sound up. So sorry about that, guys. But let me know if it's acceptable or not, because I'm more than happy to change it. But have you, before this week, what did you know of this photo?
Of the photo specifically, like, I didn't know it existed. I remember all the stories from back in 2015 that this was something that would happen. I remember sort of wondering if when the scene kicked off in Force Awakens, like, and she shows up in the Cloud City hallway going, oh, are we going to see that? Because it was one of those things that, like, it almost seemed like it felt like it was going to be one of those stories that just wasn't true, that just sort of got out there and sounded like kind of interesting, but never wound up being the case. But as we have since found out, it actually did exist. And then after the movie came out, one of the editors for the movie did an interview like 6 months later, and she talked about a bunch of the stuff that was cut from the Force back sequence, and she mentioned this. So it was clear that it was shot. It was clear that it existed. But this is the first time we actually get to see the guy and see what he looked like as Luke Skywalker. And, you know, it's kind of weird to see somebody else being in this costume and, you know, thinking that this person might have been in the movie as Luke Skywalker. But I think always the important thing to remember is we probably wouldn't have gotten a really good look at his face. It probably would have been from really far away. And so where people are sort of saying, oh, I didn't look enough like Mark, I think it's safe to say he looked enough like Mark that if we didn't get a close up of him, that we probably wouldn't have noticed on that first, second, third, or 10th viewing of Force Awakens. But I would love to see the full uncut Force back scene and just see all the crazy ideas that they had. And, you know, one of the things that the editor said about it was that they cut all this stuff because it didn't make sense logically. So I just want to see this insane version of the Force back where they just threw everything against the wall and went, let's just see how this works and see how this plays, and then how they went about trimming it down to what we got in the final movie.
Well, I spoke to someone about this deleted scene a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But that's why, because I wasn't sure, like, I'd never seen this picture before. It's weird. I've got it up on the website of looking at is What Culture, which I'm not sure. Is that a really big website? I know they do a bit of wrestling stuff. I hear them mentioned on podcasts and stuff.
Yeah, I think they're pretty sizable. I've heard of them. Okay. I think I've been there a couple of times.
But they've embedded
read a top 10 list or two.
Yeah, well, they've embedded the Reddit picture, and it says. Mm-hmm. Robert Bolter as Luke Skywalker in deleted Force back sequence for The Force Awakens. Let's see if the mods delete this again. Smiley face. So I wasn't sure if it had a history of being deleted or anything like that. But you don't know about
yeah.
that. But okay.
I don't know about that.
So I'd asked someone about this scene, and they said it was in the film. And then in reviewing it, J.J. Abrams said that he didn't want the Force back to be like a YouTube best of clip. And apparently that's his direct quote. So they whipped it out. And of course, sometimes people use this to think something's going to happen that doesn't. But if you remember, when all the Force Awakens figures came out, there was a Darth Vader and Bespin Luke Hasbro figure. Yeah. Which, was very, very strange, the timing, because I had no, what did that have to do with the Force Awakens? Bespin Luke. But he was going to be in there. Because I know sometimes, there's been Boba Fett's coming out at a certain time and people are like, oh, he's in The Last Jedi, guys. He's going to be in it. You got to be in it.
I think Boba Fett.
Sorry, Dom?
Yeah, I think Boba Fett's been rumored to be in every single Star Wars movie ever since Empire Strikes Back. I think, and it's only happened, once or twice since then. He's the ultimate rumored character, and never quite gets his moment.
Now, if you are totally spoiler free for The Mandalorian, I don't know how you're on the internet, but this is a very light spoiler. So yeah, this is your chance. But I don't know if you're a listener to this show. I don't think this is something that's going to offend you at all. But just seen today, Dom, on the Mandalorian set. And if you're watching live on YouTube, check out the image. But it looks like we've got Jawas.
Yeah, Utini indeed.
And
it's
and like that pretty much seals the deal that's Tatooine.
Yeah, I can't imagine them. I could sort of imagine them going, what? No, there are Jawas everywhere. But I also think that Jawas are the kind of thing they would only really think to include if they're going to Tatooine. And just from looking at those set pictures that Jason took while hiding in garbage cans, I think I don't see how it could be anywhere else. But then again, I said that about Force Awakens with all of those set pictures of Abu Dhabi. And it's like, how could it be anywhere but Tatooine? And then JJ's like, actually, it's Jakku. So I'm sort of like, I kind of have a little bit of a fool me once kind of attitude right now with these sorts of things. And so it's like, I'm like 99.9 with the Jawas. But I still kind of think like, there's a chance that Jon Favreau is saying it's not Tatooine, it's not Jakku, it's this other place that looks exactly like both of them. But yeah, it's Tatooine. I think it's gonna be really cool to see it's not Tatooine again, and to see Jawas and all that fun stuff.
Now, just if you are listening live, apparently it's been a little bit choppy, but I just put a link to an audio stream that you can listen to alongside this in the chat. So check that out. But if you are watching this on demand later on, I would have uploaded the video with proper audio. So there you go. Sometimes it chops out. It's the magic of the internet, Dom. I don't know what's going on. But here's the thing with, like, if it's not Tatooine, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come on. You can't be this out of ideas. Do you know what I mean?
I fully agree. I fully agree with you. I think that would be really sad if they did that again, where they said, it's another desert planet, but it's not Tatooine. But like I said, I was convinced it was Tatooine in 2014, 2015, and it turned out it wasn't. But everything about the architecture, everything about the location, the sand, and now the creatures that are on set, if it's not Tatooine, that is a sad reflection of the state of the production design office over at Star Wars these days, and I can't imagine that that's the case.
All right, this is what I'm doing, Dom. I'm Googling, are Jawas native to Tatooine? Jawas were a sentient species of meter-tall humanoids native to the outer rim world of Tatooine, and that's from Wikipedia.
Now, have we ever seen a Jawa anywhere else in the galaxy?
All right, wait. StarWars.com. 7 things you might... Much to learn. You still have 7 things you might not know about Jawas. December 20th, 2016 by Dana Jennings. All right. Gary Kurtz's daughter, Tiffany, played the Jawa Dathcha. Good to know. Always loved seeing the little kids. Jawas sniffing each other is normal. So hopefully we get to see some. I'd love to see that. Just 2 Jawas having a good old-fashioned sniff, you know? Not seeing anything about native. Oh, yes. Oh, no, that says the Tusken Raiders are native. Wait there. I'm gonna search. How do you... Wait there. I'm going to do a find on this article. Native. 2 words. The language. Okay. The natural inhabitants of Tatooine can be just as harsh as the fierce desert sandstorms. Jawas have never completely made peace with the howling Tusken Raiders, the other large sentient species native to the Twin Sun planet. So why would StarWars.com lie to me in 2016? Huh?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I'll trust StarWars.com.
How you feeling about the old Mandalorian, buddy?
I think it looks really cool. I'm surprised they haven't announced the cast officially, even though we're continuously learning new actors that are going to be in the movie through the trades and making Star Wars and that sort of thing. But I think it looks really cool. I'm excited by the concept. I think, if we're not going to see a Boba Fett movie, I think it makes sense to see a Mandalorian TV show. That's such a cool design. To not do anything with it feels like a waste. And so I think it has a lot of potential to be really, really cool. And you look at the people that they've brought on board. I think it looks awesome. I'd like to know a little bit more officially. I'd like to see a little bit more officially, but we're in that point where they're working on it, and they can't really show us anything because nothing's ready yet. So I'm looking forward to Celebration or whenever it is that they bring out a trailer or a teaser or something that is a sense of what the show is going to be. And this is something I'm a little bit curious about with the Mandalorian and with the Cassian series. Is I'm curious to see like what the target age group is for it, because when I think of streaming shows, I tend to think of stuff that skews older, and is this going to be? So the question is, like, is this going to be more Rogue One, or is it going to be more Phantom Menace or A New Hope? And I'm going to be curious to see how that plays out as well.
Yeah, I saw a tweet from those troublemakers at the Tatooine Suns that they're actually just celebrating their 1-year anniversary of podcasting. That I think Stephen Stanton is the guest on. They're recording it, I think, live this Saturday. I recorded a little message for it, so that's why I'm so attuned to their schedule. But they tweeted like about that Daredevil series getting cancelled, and their observation was all these adult-focused, like Netflix series, streaming series based on Marvel are failing. I'm not sure if that's the reason behind it, but I'd be happy for someone to think that's the reason and scale back the target age for the Star Wars one. It's 12-year-olds. 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
Smart 12-year-olds
and I think
is who you're aiming for, please.
Yeah, and I think this is maybe more of a question with the Cassian series, especially now that they're bringing on board this guy who did the Americans. And just from what we know about Cassian's backstory, it does sort of seem like more of a question for that, because that feels like that's where it could skew a lot older if they really wanted to. But with the Mandalorian, I'm curious because Favreau, he's made superhero movies and he's done Jungle Book and things like that do kind of fit into that smart 12-year-old range. And so I can definitely see him working on a show like that. But once you start getting into the Cassian stuff, that's where I think there's going to be a temptation to go a little bit more Daredevil, go a little bit more Game of Thrones, and be that quote unquote adult Star Wars series. And I'd be curious to see what that turns out. I also, like you, I question whether that's the right decision. I like to play in that sort of New Hope kind of range, that sort of Revenge of the Sith to New Hope kind of range.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I sit as well. And I just don't have, I don't know. I don't need a gritty Star Wars. Like, that sort of adultization of it. I'm fine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd be curious to see it, but it's not something I'm like pounding down the door for. I'm perfectly happy to stick with sort of that same range that it's always been.
Yeah. How about this one, Dom? I just saw this article. I was sort of Googling around. This was on comicbook.com, which I think is one of those crazy sites that just posts anything. But they do have, there is a few people that write for that stuff that have some self-respect, I guess, and just write normal articles. But this is from Patrick Kavanagh. Star Wars Avengers Infinity War director calls The Mandalorian outstanding. Now, this is something that this has caught my attention. It's amazing. We went down there to say hi to John and Taka. Is it Taka? Taika?
Taika. I think it's Taika, yeah.
Taika, okay. Taika was directing an episode, so we went along to hang out with them. Russo shared with an audience at a Collider fan screening of Infinity War. John is always at the forefront of cutting-edge tech, and he is shooting this in a way that no one has ever shot anything before. It's pretty outstanding. What does that mean, Dom?
Wow. I'm really curious because all we've seen are the pictures of those sets that are outdoors, and they look like just classic filming. Like they look like they put up a set, they built exactly what they need to see in the camera, and they're just shooting on it, and they'll add some explosions and some lasers later. But when you think about Favreau these days, you do tend to think of Jungle Book or Lion King, that are those photoreal animated movies. And I think when Favreau was hired, I think the thought crossed a lot of our minds is like, are we just going to have a movie or have a show where it's people walking around in green suits the whole time with little ping pong balls on them, and everything in green suits and green rooms, and everything else will be created digitally later, which is kind of sounds like exactly what George Lucas wishes all of filmmaking could be. And I wonder if so that's sort of what we were thinking might be the case in that sort of extreme example. But I wonder about the stuff that's going on behind closed doors. If there is a lot of CG, and there's a lot of CG characters and CG suits. And I mean, I know how you feel about CG clone trooper suits, but I wonder if we'll be seeing some CG Mando armor.
I hope not. I don't think there's a reason. Like, I think that like the best way is just to dress up 20 and then Photoshop. But
yeah, I mean, The weird thing about like armor and stuff in movies and TV shows is it's supposed to look kind of practical. Like you think, oh, these warriors would wear this. But a lot of the time when you look at behind the scenes stuff, they're wearing like versions that are, made out of rubber. They're not made out of steel, or they're just kind of half versions of it so that they can move better and move properly. And so I could see a situation where if they want actors or stunt actors to do a certain thing, it's just easier to put them in the green suit with the mocap dots, have them run around and jump and do whatever they need to do, and then CG the suit onto them versus putting them in the suit and then having to train them how
Dom,
to move
I've
in
just
something
lost
that
my audio for a sec. Are you back, Dom?
I'm here.
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, just my little recorder ran out of battery and that cut me off. But now I'm plugged into a little cord. So there you go. Let's bounce over to Star Wars Galaxy of Adventures, which hit us by surprise, Dom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those sort of last-minute announcements that they tend to make with these series of animated shorts, where they announced it yesterday, I think, or maybe on Wednesday, and all of a sudden, boom, 6 episodes today.
Yeah, and I was sort of shocked to see there's like a rollout of toys, not original toys, sadly, but there's a little bit of merchandise for this. Now, where's the announcement here? I am looking on StarWars.com for the official guff. I don't want to know how. Just tell us. Oh, okay. Here we go. Dom. Adventure awaits you and the younglings in your life in Star Wars Galaxy of Adventures, a new series of animated shorts that will introduce the classic themes, pivotal moments, and iconic characters from the Star Wars saga to the next generation. Debuting on the all-new StarWarsKids.com and the Star Wars Kids YouTube channel on November 30. The first 6 shorts combine original dialogue, music, and sound effects with bold new animations and fun and educational add-ons designed to help older fans, parents, and other mentors to welcome the kids in their lives to explore a galaxy far, far away. Additional shorts featuring fan-favorite characters will debut in December, with regular releases following in 2019. Now, 6 of these came out today. Super fun.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked they were only a minute.
Yeah.
Did you think that? I sort of thought we were going to get like, it was going to be like 5-7 minutes. I really strapped in, and I was like, I had to make sure I did 6. But yeah, super fun. Have you watched them yet?
Yeah. I watched them all instead of working. And yeah, I wasn't maybe expecting 5-7 minutes. I was expecting 3-4 minutes. Like I was expecting them to be the length of the average Forces of Destiny episode. And I was a little bit surprised at what the content actually was. I think they're cool. I think they're fun, and I think they fulfill the purpose laid out to do. They're not for me and as for them, but I definitely sort of enjoyed watching them, and I'll probably check out the next batch of episodes when they come out. But I think they look cool, and I think that this is I do think it's a really cool way to introduce kids and youngsters to to Star Wars. And what's more exciting and interesting to me is the little fun fact guides that come out with the episodes. I really enjoyed, where they just sort of retell the whole story rather than just a little moment of adventure.
I tell you, one of the highlights of those little information guides, there's one on like spaceships, like X-Wings and TIE fighters and stuff. Little cameo from Tally in there. Good old Tally.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Very happy to see her. And the reason why I wanted to go for longer was, oh my God, they're so fun. Like the bit where Luke Skywalker gets the lightsaber in Ben's hut and then does like a Thundercats impression is amazing. This is just so fun. And oh my God, this just occurred to me. Might they tell the story of the Sarlacc pit battle? Will Luke Skywalker
that would be cool.
ignite? I cannot, to see how they'd stylize that. Oh. I watched all of those ones. There was one on Darth Vader, and I was really impressed. The animation that cuts between film footage and then their graphics is very talented. Very talented. I saw. I'm just going to pop this up on the screen, but there's figures, and sorry, there's a few people saying that the audio's cutting out, but I will re-up it with new audio, you guys. So I'm sorry that I don't know. Sometimes the internet, I don't understand how it works. I don't even know how I'm talking to Dom. It's all black magic to me. But I'm not sure if you can see this, Dom, but I've got up on the screen the Hasbro figures that are going to be exclusive to Walmart, apparently. And the packaging, the packaging is the product for me. They come in this little cylinder with the animated picture and then the character in there. And they just seem I'm guessing, I'm not a figure expert, but they just look like repacked, Hasbro sort of basic figures. And in the first series, there's a Luke. What'd you say, Dom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what the scale is of these figures, because I don't know, just looking at the picture, they look a little bit bigger than your average 3 3/4 inch figure. But again, that's just the picture, so I can't quite tell. Okay. They don't look the size of a Black Series figure, but they do look maybe a smidge bigger than the vintage collection. But the packaging, I think the packaging looks really cool, and I would like to see that packaging, but with stills from the movie instead of the animated versions. I know that has to be the animated version, but I'd like that Luke Skywalker there, where he's catching the light from your
Dom. Yeah. I just be careful with what you're about to say. Just be real careful.
Why?
Go on, say it. Just be careful. Choose your words carefully.
I'm just saying, the part where he keeps catching the lightsaber there, I think it would be pretty cool to see it, to see Mark Hamill there on these really cool cylindrical packaging. Because like you said, that's the product. That's what I'd like to see. That's what I like about these more than even the figures themselves.
Now, Dom, everyone's has their right to an opinion. Do you know what I mean? And you have your right to having the incorrect opinion. I've got to zoom in now on the screen of the Luke Skywalker one, and the animated Luke grabbing the green lightsaber is so good. Come on. Do not front. That's I think they're $10. That's what's getting my $10 is that picture. I need that picture when I look at my computer. And I was I'm the other way. I was disappointed that the characters weren't stylized in the way of the animation. But I'm interested in this. I'm definitely getting the Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
Definitely, without question, Luke Skywalker is purchased. But if they did all the main characters from the 3 different trilogies like this, you could have me. Me. I might get that little sub collection.
Yeah,
because they look all together in packaging, and I love the that display box they come in as well. The point of purchase is pretty damn cool, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, that's one of those things you gotta go and buy the figures and see if you can take the box with you. Just to see if make sure nobody's paying attention when you walk out of Walmart. You're not actually stealing anything. You just want the display.
Well, my thing used to always be just buy them all. Like with I remember I always wanted the Pez boxes. And so I was just like, I'll just buy them all. And I'll just like carry them out in this. So, I was in hysterics that the Darth Vader, like 1 minute clip they showed was like the gnarliest Darth Vader scene of all time at the end of Rogue One with him just going down. I was like, I'm not like offended or upset or anything. Like that's like, you know, kids, I don't know. I have no idea what, you know, if a kid would worry them or not. But I just thought it was hilarious that they picked like the most unsuitable for children to watch Darth Vader scene and like made it sweet.
Yeah, I thought for sure, like when that scene started, because the Luke one, that first Luke one, like that jumps between a couple of different moments. So I thought for sure we were just going to see the beginning of that scene where he ignites the lightsaber, maybe deflect. I didn't think we would just keep going with that scene. And like the other thing, the thing that's crazy about it to me is like they don't even show the rebel passing on the data disc, whatever. Like they don't even give you that hope. Like if you watch that version, it just murdered everybody in a hallway. there's no hope in that. So I was like you, I was surprised that they went with that scene. I'm not complaining, and like you, I don't know if that's going to be appropriate for kids. You know, I sort of wonder about it, but it's not my place to question it.
I can tell you one thing.
It looked like,
I can tell you one thing, Dom.
Yeah.
The Disney Corporation's done more research into it than we have.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And I see in the chat, Emily Lind, actually, she's on hold, so I'll put her back on. Emily, you there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yakface clarified the size of the figures, yeah?
Yeah.
And they are?
Yeah, I think they I'm sorry, I totally
You got to be on. You never know when I'm going to put you off hold, Emily. You know how I.
No, but you're breaking up. Because I had tweeted yesterday something about whether they were going to do a Leia or not, which apparently is going to be in the next wave. But they said these were repacks, and I from what I remember, I think they were the Force Link repacks.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Like they wouldn't. I don't think they would spend. I would have been surprised if they spent a lot of money like creating a new line based on just this. So yeah, it makes more sense that they would do it that way. By the way, I'm looking at Yakface right now, and I noticed that the R2 figure comes with the jets, so I will be buying that one.
Oh. Oh,
Steele, I can co-host the rest of the show if you want to kick Dom off.
Now, Emily, how did you go looking up that Mando picture?
Okay, I was very confused at first because I was like, how did I miss Mando? And then I realized I had watched what I considered all of the quote-unquote episodes of the show, but I hadn't watched the fun facts videos that they did for the different characters, and this is in the Darth Vader fun facts video.
Mendo is a fun
fact.
fact.
It's kind of getting choked. Yes, I'm very excited. I really like it. I'm always happy to have Mendo in new forms, and now he's got the illustration Mendo.
Very, very cool. I saw you've already posted a tweet celebrating your Mendo watch.
Yeah.
We are gonna take some more calls, and we've got a bunch of people on hold. If you want to join them, it's 646-668-8360. A few Steele Wars things before we do that. The new podcast, the new full-length interview episode 191, is up with Brandon Manriquez, from the KESSEL Toy Run, going into some very heartwarming stories behind that whole project. So check that out. Also, lots of collecting and Star Wars talk. If you want to support the podcast, we are on Patreon. For $1, you get every back episode of the show without interruptions, and all the YouTube shows also in audio. And for $3, you get all the full-length bonus shows as well, like the Making Steele Wars show, the Star Wars Year by Podcast History show with Horst Burkhardt, the Juklin Strikes Back Q&As, and we just put up a new Robbo report, which features a fair bit of my son Harrison, and Robbo does a live parental commentary. And if you're in LA, we're doing a live show at Geeky Tees Burbank in their new little showroom. It's 4 p.m. Saturday, 15th of December, and tickets are available at steelewars.com. And that is going to be our live listener Star Wars news prediction review show. So we'll be reviewing everyone's predictions from the start of the year. And I do know I fared very badly. I swung big and I airballed brutally on my prediction. So that's something to look forward to. Emily, is there any general Star Wars things on your mind that we need to discuss?
I think we covered it. I mean, we talked about the Dukes and the Americans, and like you guys, I was sort of expecting Galaxy Adventure longer than it was, but I thought it was cute, and I really liked the art style, and really, that's good enough for a YouTube show.
Yeah, and if you're international, you can watch them all at StarWarsKids.com. And for some reason on YouTube, there's some geo-blocking and stuff like that. I don't.
Yeah, as somebody who's not in the U.S. most of the time, that is so extraordinarily annoying. Although in this instance, I have nothing to complain about since they are available on YouTube in Canada. But it's nice that they have them somewhere else, because that would have driven me insane.
Wow. When anyone says they've got nothing to complain about, I say that you're a fake fan because.
Yeah.
There's one actual little bit of Star Wars news before we go to the calls. We did that one. Nick Nolte is in The Mandalorian.
This is such a weird cast.
It's
Nick Nolte, Carl Weathers. What? I don't understand what this show is, but I love it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it sort of seems like Jon Favreau just sort of started pulling names from a hat. He's like, who could be our lead? Pedro Pascal. Who could be his friend? Carl Weathers. Who else could be in it? Nick Nolte. It's a great cast. It's all super talented people. But I'm with you, Emily. It's so weird. It's such an eclectic one, and I'm a little bit surprised. It skews a little bit older than we're used to with Star Wars. Nowadays, the Star Wars films, they tend to be populated by people under the age of 50. And here we are with this show where of the 4 known cast members, it's 50% in that elder statesman.
Since it appears you're calling back into a live show, we are reconnecting you now.
Space Nick Nolte, I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah,
I dropped out.
I'm
Did you guys know?
See how this could play out. Yeah. Oh,
sorry. I dropped out for 2 seconds.
Almost.
Dom?
Is he back?
I am back. But I came back in to hear Emily going, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with Space Nick Nolte. And I was like, oh, what an age to be
I'm
alive.
comfortable with. I just think it's weird that there's Space Nick Nolte.
What about if that Star Wars is going to deliver us that Nick Nolte is going to have a conversation with Carl Weathers on Tatooine? In the cantina. What?
What a world.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. let's.
I just want to know who they're going to cast next. Like, where else can they go with this cast? Who else? Who would be the next sort of like random name out of the hat that
Ooh.
nobody is expecting?
Do you know who
Like,
I'd?
I don't know.
Do you know who I'd love?
Yeah.
Bob Odenkirk. Get him up there.
Mm,
Ooh,
yeah.
yeah.
Get him up there.
Space Saul. Man, I like it.
Yeah. Let's go to Australia, Western Australia, with our good friend Rebecca. What's going on?
Hi, Steele and Dom. This time calling from Sydney, the other side of the country.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm over here for the Star Wars Identities exhibition that's been happening at the Powerhouse Museum. So I thought I'd give a bit of a report on that.
Jealousy. Have you gone in yet?
I have. I went in there yesterday, did my wander around. It takes about 90 minutes to go through the exhibition to see all the artefacts I have there. A lot of very interesting stuff. They've got Jabba the Hutt's eyes, for example. One of the few remaining artefacts from the original costume. But I thought I'd give you a little bit of a run through of what happens in there, and then finalise it all with the character that I created. Because what happens is you walk in and they give you an earpiece and they give you a wristband. And what you do is you tap the wristband on various exhibits around there, and you make a choice from various options, and you develop your Star Wars character from there. And with the audio, what happens is you pull into certain sections, and it gives you a bit of a history of what defines someone as a person or a creature. And what it's all based on is how Luke Skywalker was raised and how Anakin Skywalker was raised, and how those little tiny things that happen along the way change the kind of person that you are. And so out of that, you create your own character.
And what'd you get?
I thought we'd lost you again, Leslie. Well, what I did was I created a female Ewok character named Akabar, which is just a reversal of my name. And so I'll read you the blurb, if you like, as to what created out of this character. Now, when I made my decisions, I didn't try and think of this is how I'd like this Ewok to be. I just looked at each individual area and went, I think that's the best option out of all these 10 options, regardless of any choices I'd made previously. So, the blurb for my character. I was raised on the forest moon of Endor, where members of my community made their living building space stations for visiting despots. On holidays, my best friend and I would traditionally go hang gliding through the forest. My parents required discipline from me. And had little warmth to give, but I suppose I did inherit my natural abilities from them. Later on, I spent some time with the one and only Darth Sidious, whose guidance left me with knowledge I still use every day in my job as a bounty hunter.
Wow.
I remember this one time when I was attacked by a wampa and badly injured. I didn't let this affect me too much, though. Instead, I worked tirelessly to protect wampa habitats to avoid future attacks. People often tell me I'm generally organised and a prepared person. I also tend to be adventurous and curious, but most important to me is universalism. After all, as they say, equal rights for all and special privileges for none. I thought that's rather strange for a bounty hunter. I have only a low sensitivity to the Force, but the Emperor saw potential in me. When he offered me limitless power in exchange for my allegiance, I leapt at the chance and turned eagerly to the dark side.
Oh, no.
This Ewok sounds more and more like Galactic Forrest Gump.
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange character. But look, all that for the exhibition. If you are in Sydney, you're able to get to Sydney and you're a Star Wars fan, let's face it, if you listen to Steele Wars, certainly enjoy the exhibition. There is some really cool stuff. And don't look if you're just the occasional fan. Maybe it's something you don't particularly need to see. But for me, yeah, it was worth flying across the country for.
Very, very cool.
Nice.
I actually, the first flight I ever went on was a series of flights that took about 24 hours from Melbourne to Sydney to LA to somewhere to Washington DC, and I went to the Magic of Myth at the Smithsonian in '98, maybe, and that was like a giant, like a 3-level. I think it was like the first time they ever did a major exhibit, and it was just incredible. Just I think it was like it was meant to be like an hour and a half or a 2-hour thing, and I milked a sweet 6 hours out of that one. So I did many different. I went through, and then I did an audio tour through, and then I did a photo one through. It was so good. It was so good. But thanks for that report, Rebecca. Thanks for making me feel bad I'm not in Australia.
Well, I did have one interesting thing from it. From the new trilogy, the only thing they had was a Force Awakens Stormtrooper costume.
Ah.
The rest of it was all original films and prequels. So I'm guessing once this lot has been done, they may rejig the whole thing to include all 9 films.
Interesting. I am so psyched on Jabba's eyes. I just think that's rad.
Oh, awesome.
Very, very
So, I spent a good 15 minutes looking at those.
Well,
now in terms of new characters, that you'd like unusual actors to appear in this new series that's coming up, I'm going to throw in Robert Englund, the guy who played Freddy Krueger.
Ah, nice.
Ooh.
I think that would be unusual casting.
And
I just think he had that kind of senator look about him.
yes. And he also, as law would have it, was the guy that told Mark Hamill about the Luke Skywalker role.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about it. So that was him. Yeah, that would be cool to get him in Star Wars, seeing as he gave us Luke Skywalker as we know.
And maybe Mark.
That'd be really cool.
Mark could tell him about it. You know, like Favreau's filming down in LA, and he's casting anyone that's weird. You're weird. Get down there.
Yeah,
that's what I do. Good choice. I would like that one.
All right, where do you went for the rest of the show?
Cheers, mate. You have an awesome trip.
I'm now at the Sydney Train Museum getting things ready for tomorrow's operations.
I missed. I talked over your signature sign off, Rebecca. So I'll let you do it one more time.
All right then, hooroo to you. See you later.
I like the hooroo. I like it a lot. All right, let's hit some calls. Let's check the Patreons that have called in first, and let's go to the king of all kings in Ohio, the master of the podcast Call It. It's King Tom Chansky. What's going on, buddy?
Hi, Steele and Dom. Thanks for taking my call. Steele.
Emily's still
here's
here
what
as
I've been thinking.
I don't know why you like.
Oh, hi, Emily.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, well, Steele, Emily, and Dom. Here's what I've been thinking. This,
yes. Yes.
Thank you.
I totally forgot about that. Sorry. Dom, this is King Tom's new segment.
I wrote it down. I've been looking at it. I got segments now. Anyway, here's what I've been thinking.
Yes.
This Galaxy of Adventures news kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, I think the only person who had said anything about it before Wednesday was, I think, Max Pallis over at the Star Wars Post, because he found the copyright filing, but no one knew what it was. And then Wednesday, we hear that we're getting a new animated series, and it's coming out 2 days later. You know, it wasn't a trailer they gave us or a title they threw out where we were wondering what it would be and what it would look like forever. But I think in terms of other Star Wars products that we've gotten, it's happened very suddenly. And I kind of like that. And I'm just wondering if I'm the only one who's been thinking this, and do you think we will see more projects on a fast track like this? Obviously, it's, you know, they can't say, oh, hey, we got a movie coming out next week. But you know, a lot of the news, the casting, the Diego show, that's been kind of sudden. Do you think they're changing the way they promote themselves?
I think
I've been
go, Dom. Sorry.
Thanks. I've been wondering about this a little bit, like in the aftermath of the Solo director's change and the episode 9 stuff and all of that. I've been wondering if they are a little bit shy about making announcements super far in advance, and now they're kind of hanging back, seeing how things play out before they make it official. Because you think about, like, Solo was Phil Lord and Chris Miller were announced 3 years before it came out. Colin Trevorrow, like 4 years before episode 9. Like they were big, long lead ups to these things, and I am wondering if they're just sort of holding back and not announcing things until they absolutely have to, or in the case of like the Cassian show, when they just sort of need something for like a shareholders call. Like I bet they wanted to announce the Mandalorian at the shareholders call, and then a certain somebody forced their hand on it, and so they announced it in advance, and then like, we need something else. Somebody get Diego Luna on the phone.
It was Bin Boy.
And so Bin Boy. I suspect I think you may be onto something where they're maybe just sort of holding back on announcements as late as they can, and it just sort of depends on what medium and what the project is. So obviously for TV shows like The Mandalorian or the Cassian show or the films, they need a little bit more of a lead up of promotion. But for something like this, where it's just 6 1-minute episodes, yeah, sure, announce it the day before or 2 days before.
Right.
You know, don't let it get away from you. And I think a couple of times, especially last year, things got away from them, and they had to do a fair bit of damage control.
I also think it in the scheme of things, this, Galaxy of Adventures, it's so little. It's not hard. It's not hard to keep 6 1-minute, re-edits of the film with some animation secret. There's so few people. Like the only new voice is the voiceover guy. Everything else is repurposed. You've just got the animation company and Lucasfilm and then Hasbro. But yeah, I just don't it's such a small project in the scheme of things that, it's.
But they do have the toy line coming out with it too.
Yeah, but even that, it's just like a repackaged figure.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not dissing it. I'm just saying it's not like this big major thing like that to keep secret. Like it's 6 minutes of YouTube repurposed stuff. So at the moment, but
and you know that Star Wars quote unquote fans are going to be internet jerks about whatever you do. So when you're just doing something like this, which is just little 90-second clips, why let them have 3 months of complaining about it that'll ruin the excitement? Just announce it 2 days before, because then you're not overhyping it when it's something really little. It's just, hey, here's this cool new thing you can watch it in 2 days. Enjoy.
They should have mentioned 1 minute clips. Because I'd overhyped it. I probably sat down for the afternoon. I was like, all right, yes, let's do it. But to its credit, it's something that I wish, I was like, just let it keep going. Come on, let it keep going. I tell you the best, I enjoy the Lucasfilm conspiracy theories. They're very good. And my favorite conspiracy theory about Galaxy Adventures from someone on Twitter was it's Lucasfilm's desperate attempt to have something to show on the streaming service because they can't show the feature films at the moment. That
Jeez.
It's like,
but
wow.
It's already out. You don't have to wait for the streaming service. Like what?
And people who are really into Star Wars probably have multiple versions of the films anyway. So if you're signing up for the streaming service to get the Star Wars feature films, that's probably the wrong way to do it.
Yeah, I hear people talk about it, because they've already signed agreements and stuff. So they come, but it's just like I'm not gonna watch like Star Wars if it's on the streaming service. Like maybe, but I kind of like. I don't even think I've watched it on Netflix or like I've got the discs and I like putting the disc in. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm the same way, but I can see the argument for putting it on the streaming service because, yeah, we're all going to sign up for it for Mandalorian, Clone Wars, and the Cassian show. But there are also going to be people who sign up for it for those Marvel things and those other Disney shows and projects that are going to be original for it. And to keep people, and then once you've got people there, you want to keep them there, or you want them to be checking out your other properties and projects. So, if you sign up for it, if you want High School Musical or whatever, and then you're like, oh, there's also Star Wars. Well, let's check that. Like, you can watch that, and then it's there, and then who knows? Maybe you just sold another ticket or two to episode 10. So I can see why they would want it there for not for the hardcore fans because, like you guys have pointed out, we've already got it. We can go to any number of places and watch the movie. But for those people that you're going to that you're hoping will discover it because they signed up for the app for other reasons, and then maybe you get another ticket.
Yeah, but
million out of it.
Yeah.
But when you think about, like, I see your point, Dom, and it would, of course, be in a perfect world, they're all there. Do you know what I mean? Just to, for your digital streaming OCD. But the purpose, like, of the streaming thing, Disney Plus, whatever, it isn't to generate ticket sales. It's to get some of that sweet, like, it's not advertorial. It's like that's the revenue. Like, they're planning on that being like a theme park sized revenue stream for the next 100 years or something. This is the final frontier of content war. We have run pretty long, so I should turn it around. We've got one more Patreon on hold that we'll go to. King Tom, what podcast will you be appearing on this week?
I sent something into Blue Harvest. I will be talking about something on the Sith list this week. I sent it in already. I forgot what it was. And I'm hoping to get something into that wonderful Canto Bite Dispatch.
Nice.
I was going to say, I was going to be really offended.
Death Watch.
Nice.
Death Watch!
Awesome to talk to you, Tom. I will see you on the internet.
Yep. Okay, thanks, Steele. See you, Dom. See you, Emily.
Bye.
See you, Tom.
And Emily, I had a great time listening to the last episode of the Canto Bite Dispatch. I have to say, you reviewing the Clone Wars micro series purely based on the GIFs available on Twitter, that's some top shelf content, buddy. That's how all great movies. That's how everything should be reviewed, through its GIFs.
Yes, I'm very dedicated to my craft.
Awesome. So that is the Canto Bite Dispatch, if you want to check that out. Thanks, as always, for calling in, buddy.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
Nice. Now,
Hi, Emily.
Dom, we've got this Patreon member, and I'm shocked they've called in. But on the line now, on 717, we have got Corey's Crocs on the line. Corey Van Dyke's Croc shoes have called in. Are you there, Corey's Crocs?
Hi. I'm not actually a pair of Crocs. I'm sorry. That's the name of my dad's Patreon. I'm actually Zoe from Star Wars Geek.
Ah, hey, how are you? Oh, you're cutting out. No. Where are you?
Oh no! Hello, I'm good. Hi.
What's going on? What's happening on the Star Wars Geek Girl?
Not much. Although I do have something to say about your Jawas that you're talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Today. Yeah, I was actually having a scene off of Tatooine.
Okay.
In
All right.
the Clone on Florum on Hondo's base, there's a couple of Jawas fighting each other when Obi-Wan and Anakin are going into Hondo Ohnaka's base, pirate base.
Damn it, Zoe. Damn it.
If something
I'm sorry.
I can't believe you've called in to Jawa spine me. That is very rude.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, What do you think, Zoe? Do you think it's Tatooine or not?
I mean, I think it could be. It kind of looked like maybe a Tatooine city in that picture we have and stuff. Like it's sandy, and so I think it could be Tatooine. It could also maybe not, but I want it to be Tatooine.
Yeah.
If I were a gambling man, I'd say it's Tatooine. But there's always a chance. Like I said earlier, fool me once. So I'm not fully convinced just yet.
Okay. What else is on your mind, Zoe? What's going on in Star Wars for you?
In Star Wars for me, I don't know. I still haven't watched the Galaxy of Heroes yet because I've been kind of busy, but going to as soon as this stream is over, I think.
Nice. And what tell us what were you guys talking about in the last episode of Star Wars Geek Girl?
Well, the last episode of Star Wars Geek Girl, we mostly talked about Resistance. Which, have you seen Star Wars Resistance at all?
I am not caught up. I am caught up on my Star Wars Galaxy of Adventures, though. If they made those episodes 1 minute, I swear to God I'd be caught up. But I'm a few episodes in. I'm enjoying. What's your take? Are you enjoying it?
On Resistance? Yeah, definitely. I like it a lot. I like, I mean, this is spoilers, like a little bit. But they're basically pirates in the show, and all of the pirates are wearing like pieces of Imperial armor. Like there's this one pirate who he's wearing a whole bunch of like Imperial officer badges just all over him, and I just think that's like a really nice detail I like.
Yeah, that's cool.
Plus you got a sand trooper costume.
Yeah.
That's the one I really like because that's the just popping the heads off your action figures and smashing them together.
Even in like films like Mad Max and stuff where you see like Earth real world things like repurposed, by scavengers and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And of course that the ray goggles being the stormtrooper helmet, their eyepieces, all that stuff's really cool. Who's your favorite character, Zoe?
My favorite right now is Tam Rivora. I think he's definitely my favorite, although I am really liking this new Sonara character they've introduced a couple episodes ago.
I don't think I'm up to. Is that a girl or a guy?
It's a girl. She's purple Miri Allen.
I haven't hit that one yet. There's no.
Okay, it's the Signals Sector 6 episode.
Or if I have seen that episode, there's something really wrong with the color on my TV.
Okay.
So, because I've seen no purple girls, you know what I'm saying? Alrighty, cool. Well, anything else on your mind that you want to talk about? Any questions? Any comments? I've heard from your father that you listen to this and you yell at the live stream when you disagree with me. What's going on with that?
Yelling is a strong word.
Are you calling your father a liar?
No. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember you messed up your Star Wars Rebels timeline a little bit.
Oh,
Ah.
oh, big
And-
mistake.
Frustrated a little.
Yeah, I probably mistaken like the first half of season 3 Sabine's belt with the second half of season 3 Sabine belt or something. Some horrible crime that Zoe and Lizzie like to gatekeep
Yeah,
you on. All right, well, you can listen to those two gatekeepers talk about Star Wars Resistance at Star Wars Geek Girl, available wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks so much for calling in, Zoe. I really appreciate it. You can call in and correct me anytime, but
Okay.
let's face
sorry.
it. Let's face it. With my track record,
Please
you
do.
won't have many opportunities to correct me because I get it spot on almost all the time. Let's be fair. Let's be really fair right now. So enjoy your time in
You
the
are
sun.
right more than Dorothy.
What, buddy?
I'll give you that.
Okay. The internet faded you out there. I feel like that was for the best because I feel like you were saying something very tough on my emotions. But thanks for calling in, mate, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Zoe.
Bye.
That is Star Wars Geek Girl with Lizzie Perales as well. It's a super fun pod. Now, I think it's so weird that like my family wasn't a Star Wars family, and maybe my new family, my family will be, but I think it's weird that one of Zoe's childhood memories is ringing into an internet radio show and explaining that she's not Corey's Crocs. That is just it's a bizarre
Yeah,
fandom we have here.
that's one of those things that's hard to ever imagine anybody having to do that. But sometimes you just got to explain that you're not a pair of shoes or alleged shoes.
Yes, or Corey's. Alrighty, guys. Well, thanks so much for the super fun show. Thanks to all the callers. Thanks to everyone in the chat. And sadly, if you're listening afterwards, you won't be able to read the chat because I'll have to re-upload it with the better audio. Now, Dominic Jones, you host one of the flagship Star Wars news podcasts. Tell us all about it, please.
Yeah, so I host the Star Wars Underworld podcast. We record them every week. New episodes come out on Fridays. We record them on Thursday nights. And most weeks we go through the news. We talk about what it means, what we think it means, and what excites us about it, and what maybe some of the stuff that doesn't excite us as much. We like to be, honest with our opinions. And when we like something, we'll tell you. But when we don't like something, we'll. StarWarsUnderworld.com is the best place to find it. I can also find it on iTunes and Google Play. And if you subscribe to our feed, there's tons of podcasts there, including our Star Wars Resistance, which is called the KazooToCast and comes out every week and reviews new episodes of Resistance as they come out. So check them all out, StarWarsUnderworld.com.
Very, very cool. If you watched up to here, you probably enjoyed the video, so give it a little thumbs up, write a little comment below, hit subscribe, and I don't know, YouTube will do its thing, whatever that is. Don't forget to check out the episode with Brandon talking about the KESSEL toy run on the audio podcast at steelewars.com, iTunes, or wherever podcasts can be found. And if you're in LA, we'll see you at Geeky Tees, Burbank, on Saturday the 15th of December at 4 p.m. And also support the KESSEL toy run. Send in a little toy. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. Thank you, Dom. I truly love talking Star Wars with you, buddy. And it's a joy to do it again. And to everyone, have a great weekend. And may that force be with you. Thanks, Dom. We out.
Oh, we're out. All right. Thank you. That was a lot of fun. That was